All right, Bears Jaguars, end of week 6. We do the immediate analysis. We do a couple quick things after the game, but then I like to do, after the PFF grades come out, break it down for you guys so you guys can have an in-depth look in that. I know not everybody's subscribed to PFF, so this is my kind of way of breaking down the highlights. Who was the offensive studs, defensive studs, who are some of the duds, who outplayed themselves, and really keep track of where Caleb has gone as well as we track our generational quarterback becoming a superstar. This is where we do it. So I do it in the grades after each game. So obviously we know the Bears won 35-16. Bears moved to 4-2. And the second time in a row that we've scored 5 touchdowns in the game. And I think everybody's heard by now it's like 6-7 decades since that's happened. So it's huge. This team is clicking offensively like it never has before. So it's a big thing. I always like to start with the offensive studs first because offense is something we're starting to pivot to enjoy. Something we don't see very often in Chicago. And now we are. Caleb Williams, 87.9 PFF grade. It confirmed everything we talked about. I shared on here that he had a 95.8% adjusted completion percentage. Nobody's highlighting that enough. It needs to be highlighted more. Mainstream media needs to pick it up and realize that was a special game for him. 87.9. Along with that, you got Darnell Wright, 78.2. Great on pass blocking and run blocking. We'll get to that. Keenan Allen obviously had a huge game. Tevin Jenkins with a good game. Cole Kmet. These are all the guys that were 65-ish. I always say ish because if they're, right, just like on your screen, 64.4, 64.2, I'll include them in there because that's right close. That's where I want our starters to be on a weekly basis. That's what I always say. Starters need to be right around 65. Your superstars are right 75, 80, 85, 90. That's what you want. I mean, your big-time superstars, your main stars in the league are 80 every week. So, this looks really good when you look and you see right tackle Darnell Wright, left guard Tevin Jenkins, left tackle Braxton Jones, right guard Matt Pryor, center Coleman Shelton. Every single one of them with a roughly 65 grade or above. That's fantastic. So we want to see them keep that up. We move to the pass blocking, and this is everyone in pass blocking. So even though it looks like I'm just keeping the ones that are 65 and above, this is every single pass blocker from this game, which means nobody did poorly in pass blocking. Coleman Shelton, 84. Tevin Jenkins, 83.2. DeAndre Swift, 78.8. Roshan Johnson, 74.2. Doug Kramer, Cole Kmet, Matt Pryor, Kieran Amagaji for one play, but still, it's there. Doug Kramer for one play, but it's there. Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright. So everybody had a 63.7 or above. This is everybody who had a pass blocking rep, an opportunity to pass block. This was all of them. So that's huge. And if they can keep this up, this team is going to soar. This team is going to give Caleb all the time in the world to sit back there and do what he wants to do. With that, I included all 32 teams. You can see the 22 and down I kind of cut off so it can make it big enough for the upper ones. But they're on the left there. But here you can see the Bears. In years past, this has been the biggest struggle is having pass blocking efficiency. This year started out right around the same place. 81, 80, 82. You can see the bottom of the league is New England. They're at 74, and then slowly creeps up Tennessee at 30, 79. And then you got Atlanta around 82 at 25. The Bears are finally coming up. Week by week, they've been getting better and better. This pass blocking the grades are improving. You only allowed 1 sack last game, 9 pressures, 10 pressures when they finally settled the entire grade of it. But it's improving every week. So they've only given up 58 pressures on the entire year and only 11 sacks, but only 1 sack last week, only 1 sack the week before. So the last couple of weeks has looked really good. They're really coming along. They're really picking it up. They've improved from 82 as a pass block efficiency grade, taking all the averages in, all the way up to 85, which is 18th in the league. So they're climbing. You look like teams like Detroit that we expected to be in the top 3, and that's part of why Detroit has a loss. But they've struggled a little bit. Last game, they didn't struggle at all, and they actually came up a little bit. So they're looking better too. They're going to have some struggles on the defensive side of the ball now with Aiden Hutchinson being out for the year. But this is a good sign for the Bears to be cracking into the teens, moving upward. They need to keep doing it week by week. Keep putting solid weeks together to be able to improve and climb the list because they're right in this range where you're going to see, up at number 10 is only 2.5 points above them. But 7 less sacks for the year. So they just need to keep improving. But I like where the line is headed. It feels a lot better than it did week 1, 2, and even into week 3, halfway through week 3. It feels a lot better than it did the first part of the year. So it's looking a lot better. For run blocking, this is where we might need a little bit more help, a little bit more focus on. Man, what's going on here? Let's go. Move this over. Get over here. And see Darnell Wright, which is why he had such a huge grade. 85.6 on his run blocking. He's an absolute monster. He's an animal out there. Roma Dunze with a big grade. So he's adjusting to the league. You remember the first couple weeks, I think his first week it was like a 14 or a 20 grade on his run blocking. It was terrible. So he's adjusting to the league. You'll see this with rookies a lot, though, especially when it comes to cornerbacks, defensive backs, wide receivers, when it comes to the specialty parts of them, not just catching the ball or receiving, which he's obviously awesome at, but having to learn how to set contain, to be able to pick up some of the outside guys on these different run schemes and a whole new scheme with Shane Waldron. It takes a minute, but this was a huge sign for Roma Dunze for him to have a 72 grade on his blocking, on his run blocking. Tevin Jenkins, Braxton Jones, Cole Kmet with a decent grade. Then we start moving down into the 60s. The good thing is nobody was below 50. And I tell you that 50 is the cutoff where I'm really upset with people if they're below 50. So down here between 60 and 57, there's only 4 guys. Matt Pryor, Coleman Shelton, Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett. That's right on the verge range. I'm okay with it. I don't love it. I want my starters to be above 65. But, I mean, we're talking about 60. It's not terrible. And all these guys right in the middle there, they fit right within that range. So not terrible, not amazing, but nobody below 50 is awesome. So I love that on the run blocking. Offensive duds. Anybody with an overall composite score of 50 and below? None. 2 weeks in a row. 1 week, 2 week. 1 week, 2 week. 1 week, 2 week. None. None of them. That's going to lead to improved clicking and things continuing to get better and better. This is why you have 5 touchdowns for 2 games in a row, because everyone's clicking. Don't tell me it's the Panthers and the Jaguars. Don't tell me that stuff. The Jaguars were predicted to be at the top of the division, and they played very well to start the year, or to start this game, and they played very well in some of their other games. They just beat the Colts, who we lost to every week, any given Sunday. Don't tell me that stuff, because this team is clicking. They've played well. So 2 weeks in a row, 0 guys below 50 as a composite grade. Moving to the defensive studs, and there's a lot of them right around 65 and above, and I love it. Kevin Byard leading the pack with 85.3. Montez Sweat, as I mentioned in my last video, his pass rush was phenomenal. He was leading everybody. He looked great, 81.5. Amen Ogbongbemiga, who's only in on 3 total plays, 1 run defense, 1 pass rush, 1 coverage, 78.7. Obviously, we know with that 1 big play. Elijah Hicks, 78.1. Rough start in the game, and then absolutely tore it up the entire game. I guess he tore it up in the beginning, then a rough couple of plays, then tore it up at the end is a better way to put that. But overall, filling in very nicely for Jaquan Brisker when we were missing a huge component. This is one of the biggest reasons why we did well. This, and we stopped the run. That was one of the biggest highlights I said before the game. One of the biggest keys. Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, stopping them in the run game, and we absolutely did it. And that's why you see these grades so high. Kyler Gordon, before he was injured, 77.2. TJ Edwards, 70.5. Jack Stanmore, 68.7. Jervon Dexter, Chris Williams with a big sack, and DeMarcus Walker in on every play as well, 64.6. So those are our defensive studs in the game, and I absolutely love to see how they did. Here's our pass rush. I like to highlight the pass rush. It's an important part for me. You see Chris Williams led the way with a 74.8, which is huge. With Zach Pickens being out, Chris Williams hasn't been playing the best. He's been kind of the liability for us when we need someone to rotate in with Big Bill and with Big Dex. Those two, when they're not together, we have to have someone rotate in. We've had a weakness there with Zach Pickens being out. Chris Williams stepped up in this game in a big way. 2 total pressures and 1 huge sack. His PRP, his pressure rate, and his pass rush win percentage, both above 10%, which is awesome. The only other person to do that, number 2 there, Montez Sweat, who also had a sack. And Chris Williams also, I don't have it on here, but looking at his run grades, he contained the run so much better than he has been. So this is a huge thing for Chris Williams to have such a big game in this game. That's a big step forward for us if he can step in as that third role. Having depth on the defensive line when that was the biggest weakness coming into the year, that's huge. Montez Sweat with 6 total pressures and a sack as well. Big Dex with 3 pressures. Down to Byron Cowart, who also had a sack, and Marcus Walker, who had a sack. I think one of those is a half and half, but I've explained to you guys on PFF. Sometimes they share a sack, and they give them a full sack. But we had, this doesn't have the linebackers in here. Amen had one as well. So this doesn't have the linebackers. This is just the linemen. But overall, really good play by all these guys. The only one that struggled, And I know no one wants to hear this, but it's normal with a rookie who needs to put on weight, who needs to get experience. Austin Booker had a poor game. He did not play well. In the 16 pass rushes he was in, no pressure whatsoever, and he got manhandled when you watch the tape over again. So not great for Austin Booker, but for a rookie who was drafted in the 5th round, 3rd round potential, they said he should stay one more year. He's had some big games so far. I absolutely don't have any hesitation saying I love Austin Booker, and I'm very excited he's on the team. We have to be patient with a young guy who was considered a developmental defensive end who should have stayed one more year in the league, but we got him in the 5th round because of that same reason. I'm good with this. I wouldn't be as good with it if Montez Sweat, Jervon Dexter, DeMarcus Walker, Darrell Taylor, Big Bill weren't having big years, but they are. So I'm good with Austin Booker having a little struggle here, but I want to see him improve week by week and continue to have one bad week, come back next week, and have a big week. All right, we'll move on to the coverage grades. This is really small, and I know, and I'm sorry. The big things I want to point out here is Kevin Byard at the top there. 3 targets to him, 2 receptions, but only 7 total yards and a pass breakup, and obviously a touchdown allowed against him. Not great, but his coverage grade was really good, 79.4. Big tackles as well. Elijah Hicks, 3 targets, 1 reception. That turned into the other touchdown. Really just out of position on that one. I don't kill him over that. Don't crucify him over that. But where's the other one? Down there. Number 9, Jalen Johnson. 2 targets, 1 reception, only 5 yards. Really locked down as well. Josh Blackwell is the other one to point out. He had the interception, 4 targets, 2 yards, or 2 receptions, 18 yards allowed, a 22.9 passer rating against him in 25 pass opportunity and coverage opportunities. So that's big. You know, Jalen Johnson had 56.3, which is very normal for him. Way better than league average. League average is like between 80 and 100. And so that's including all the amazing ones and the poor ones at the bottom end of that. So really, really solid for Josh Blackwell to be filling in for Kyler Gordon when Kyler Gordon had to go out of the game. That was really big because Kyler Gordon was having a big game. To have Josh Blackwell come in and step into his role and be able to play just as well as he was. I don't know if anybody plays as well as Spider-Man, but to come in and really noticeably play just as well as he does, I'm confident in saying that. He really did. That's a huge, huge thing for this defense. So that was big. Defensive duds, there was only one, and I hate to put this up there because he's had such a good year so far, but Big Bill, Andrew Billings, had a poor game, 38 PFF grade. I haven't watched the tape over again, but what I do remember after I saw this was I didn't notice him a lot in the game. There was one where he was hustling to the sideline. I remember that one where he was booking it. He was trucking to get the tackle. But I didn't see him in a lot of tackles. I didn't see him in a lot of pressure. So that's probably why he had such a low grade. He wasn't a factor in this game. So I'll forgive him. He's had a big year so far. I love that he's had a big year. But we also had guys stepping in and really covering for him, I guess is a good way to say it. We had a team effort. That's what I loved. All right, let me move my picture up here. And this is our special teams. I usually always only put Tory Taylor, but I had to put Cole Kmet because, as Matt Eberflus said, first player in history, maybe, not sure, but probably, first player in history to have 2 touchdowns, and immediately after those touchdowns go right over and long snap the ball for the kick. Really fun to watch him and his interaction in the beginning of it. I don't know if you guys heard the story yet. Most people probably have by now, but before the game, they said to him, and it was in his post interview that he said this. They said, Scott's out of the game. He's like, Tyler Scott, how does that affect me? And they said, no, long snapper, you need to do long snapping duties. He's like, oh, I better go over and practice. And then obviously Matt Eberflus was super excited to brag about how they give him reps every Thursday and how he's the emergency backup long snapper, and we were prepared for this. And so got to highlight Cole Kmet filling in. Tory Taylor wasn't really useful in this game. Did have one booming punt, 61 yards. Not a real huge factor because we scored 5 freaking touchdowns. So that's huge. But Daniel Hardy and Kerry Blasingame, both with really good grades on return and coverage grades. Big tackles by both of them and really good coverage. So they stepped in well and played well on the special teams as well. So we'll highlight them too. Now we go to Caleb. And where am I going to put me? Let me just make me smaller here. Kerp. So I've done this every week, and I do the last 3 weeks. So I'm just going to cruise right through these first 2 weeks of 4 and 5. They've all been good weeks so far. 1, 2, and 3, we had to compare against other weeks, and you saw. But here was 4, here's 5, and now I've replaced. I only do the last 3 weeks in a row just to see. You guys can pause this if you want to. Not a ton to share on it. He's improving every week, but I do want to highlight on week 6. I always highlight one thing that I can take. This is his passing chart and depth. So for those that don't understand, look at the right there. 0 plus, that blue line is the line of scrimmage. You look on the right, going up 10 yards, so that's 0 to 10 yards is the one, 10 to 20 yards, and then 20 yards plus. Obviously, we know the one mistake he made in this game was the long where he left it floating. He didn't put enough zip on it. He didn't get it to the pylon, and it was intercepted. He said it. He regretted it. Right in his post-game interview, he regretted it. Wishes he had it back, but he doesn't. So he had the interception there. But I want to point out the thing right in the middle. Where you're successful in the NFL is if you can get in the middle of the field and target these guys. Look, let's first look where I'm going to take my little image here. All right, screwing up here. My image, look right here in the 0 to 10 yard range. Perfect. 2 for 2, 6 for 6, and 4 for 4. Awesome. Killed it. 100%. And one of those on the left side, that's the one perfectly over Keenan Allen's head into the sideline of the end zone, perfectly placed. Even the check down to Cole where he looked like he was just going to throw it away and ended up miraculously getting it to him, and then Cole went downfield. But look above there from 10 to 20 yards. A lot of times you'll see players who aren't confident on the left hash and on the right hash to be able to get some out routes and make it a little easier for them. In the middle of the field, that's a perfect grade. 158.3 is a perfect NFL passer rating. 2 touchdowns, 5 for 5 in the middle of the field between 10 and 20 yards. That is something to absolutely pound into everyone's head, that this is a young quarterback that is finding his place in the NFL and is looking really confident and really good. So I really feel good about it. Last thing I'll do here, I'm just going to do his tracking and his progression. We want to track Caleb as he goes along. Now he has 1,317 yards. He's on pace for 37-32. If you look right here first, if you look right there. So he's on pace for 37-32, but obviously we know the last couple weeks he's doing really well. So if he keeps up the pace of the last couple weeks, he's going to break 4,000 easy. The Bears' rookie record is 21.93, so I've added that to this chart so you guys can see it. He's coming up on that really quickly. And if you look at the top there, the Bears' record for any quarterback is 38-38, and then 4,000 is what everybody kind of hags on the Bears for, that we haven't had a 4,000-yard rusher or passer, so that's why he's there. Next over is touchdowns, right in this row right here. Sorry if that hurts anybody's eyes. That's the only thing I really have as a pointer. I guess I can use this, my little logo. Boom. Right here in this area, that's where we're looking next. Bears' rookie record is 11. As sad and pathetic as that sounds, it's fact. It's truth. So he's 2 away. Probably happen in the next game, to be honest, with the shootout we're going to have with the Commanders. That's probably going to happen in the next game. He'll have at least 2. I would think probably 3 at least, again, with the way he's playing, the way this offense is clicking. I would think there's no reason we wouldn't. He's on pace for 26 right now. Bears' rookie record is 11. Bears' record overall is 29. And everyone rags that the Bears have never had a 30-touchdown passer, so putting that up there as well. Completion percentage has come up significantly with how well he's been playing. It's now at 65.3. A Bears record, I don't have the rookie record on here, but a Bears overall record is 67% completion percentage, which actually isn't a bad record for a Bears record. That's actually a decent one. 67% is good. It's going to be pretty freaking phenomenal if a Bears quarterback throws at a 70% click, though. That's at the top of the league type of stuff. And Caleb, the way he's improving week by week, could bring his averages up to be there. So this blue line could be coming above the box by the time we're done. It'll be really fun to watch how that progresses. And then last, the receivers. We got three receivers and a tight end that are in contention. Let me just bring me off for a second. In contention for the 4,000 or for the 1,000-yard record first. They said before the year that they're kind of competing for it, so I want to kind of track it a little bit. That's what I do for fun. DJ's now at 314. He's almost a third of the way there over here. Keenan's at 122. Obviously, we know he was injured for a couple games, so he was out. Rome, as a rookie, is coming along really nicely. 246, so a quarter of the way there. And Cole Kmet, 289 now. So don't ask me which one is going to hit the Bears rookie record, or the Bears record, the Bears 1,000-yard mark first. But I do, at this click, I really do think there's going to be more than one, and you could see 2 or 3. I'm going to say 3. Man, what could happen? Let's say 2. Let's say 2 to be fair. I don't know. Let's say 3. I'm going with 3. We're going to have 3 guys break the 1,000-yard mark. It's going to be fun. But these guys are all on pace right now to be right around there. And if this offense keeps humming and clicking, there's no reason they won't. So really, really fun to follow this team. All right, there is the recap again. Bears and Jaguars PFF grades. Let me know what you guys learned from this. There's a couple things I learned. I kind of pointed some of them out throughout this. But let me know what you guys learned, who you thought did better than maybe you thought they did, or who stuck out to you in the game, especially filling in. There's a lot of guys in the secondary you can include in there. And really, the entire offensive line, Cole Kmet, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, obviously Caleb Williams with probably the biggest game of anybody. Huge, huge week. On to the bye week. Let everybody heal up. Let everybody get better. Get the entire team healthy again. And then we get to face the Washington Commanders in what will be a true test. It's going to be, these guys are going to be hyped up for it because everyone's squawking their squawk about the Bears still for some reason. Don't look at the 3-2 and 1-4. I don't know why it hadn't updated when I took the screenshot of that. But obviously the Bears are 4-2. So 4-2 against 4-2 with the Commanders. That's going to be a big matchup. They played the Ravens very well. So it's going to be really fun. It's not prime time, but prime viewage. It's going to be a game to highlight absolutely in this upcoming 2 weeks from now, but it'll be fun. So let me know what you guys learned from the video. Appreciate all you tuning in, and until next time, dabears.